Over the weekend, the Huffington Post published an article giving you 3 different interview questions to ask candidates that are related to a post-COVID world. Now, whenever they do this, something really interesting happens. A bunch of hiring managers, HR people, and recruiters read these articles and they think to themselves, I've got new interview questions to ask, tricky ones, and they're probably going to stump some of the people that I'm going to be interviewing in the coming weeks and months. Well, not if they're you. Because in today's video, I'm going to give you these 3 different interview questions that were recently released in a major publication that people are definitely going to be asking candidates, and I am going to teach you how to answer them so that you absolutely crush them. I mean, some people are going to get stumped by these questions. They just won't be you. I mean, some people for sure. You? Absolutely not. Let's go. Hi everybody, I'm Ben with Ben Talks Talent. I've got 11 years experience in interviewing, hiring, and recruiting, and I am passionate about using my experience to help you become the best candidate possible and land your next job. Now, in today's video, we're gonna be talking about a really interesting article I read on Huffington Post, and we're gonna talk through the 3 specific interview questions they're suggesting people ask in a post-COVID world, and I'm gonna show you how to answer them. But before we get into that, do me a favor, if you are new here, take 3 seconds, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and hit that notification bell. That way you never miss one of my videos. Also, feel free to sign up in the comments to my email list so you can get a notification and I can send you emails whenever I drop one of these videos. And please feel free to share these on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, your MySpace account, wherever you share relevant information, feel free to share it there. Let's get into the video. Now, the first question comes off as something very obvious. This is a question that makes sense. And the question is, how do you complete a project with minimal supervision? This is a question that of course people are asking, right? Because with more people than ever working remote, more companies saying, you know what, this job, we've seen it over the last 12 months, it can be done remote, go ahead and do it remote. They're going to wonder how you can do this. Now, a lot of companies are also new to this. A lot of people have never managed someone remote minus the last 16 months. So they're thinking to themselves, okay, as I hire people who will be remote for the entirety of the time that they work for me, how do I get to the core of whether or not they're gonna be good at it? So they ask this interview question. So here's what I would say. When I'm answering this interview question, I would let them know that it's something you are really confident doing. I'd let them know if you have an example, a story in the past, that's incredibly helpful here. Something like, in the past, I've had to do this quite a bit. My previous managers were really trusting of my ability, so they would give me projects and they wouldn't really even check in with me. They'd count on me to give them updates, let them know if I encountered any roadblocks, and ultimately fill them in when I finish the project. So it's something that I'm really comfortable doing. I set schedules, guidelines, and milestones, and I just work through them, and I know to raise my hand if I need help, but it's an area for me that I'm extremely comfortable in. That's a great way to answer it, and what you did there is you let them know, 1, this isn't new to me. 2, I require no supervision. 3, I will let my boss know if I need them or if they need to be updated. You're letting them know that, guess what? I've done this before, I'm comfortable doing this, and I can do it for you, and it's not gonna be a problem. Those are the things you wanna convey when you're answering this interview question. The next question is, can you give me an example of how you had to adapt to your role during COVID? Now, here's the big key here. We all had to adapt over the last year. Most of us had some sort of adaptation we had to make. If you didn't, you probably have a very unique job, but the vast majority of us had to adapt in some way. Here's the key. The key to answering this interview question is it can't be something that was terribly hard for you. They want you to know, or they want to see somebody who is rolling with the punches, right? Or you had to adapt, but this adaptation you had to make was comfortable for you. You hit the ground running. You jumped over this roadblock and continued to be productive. So whatever it is, give a real, authentic example and then talk about how you quickly adapted. Talk about how it was easy for you, talk about how it was comfortable for you, and talk about how you've maintained the change in a good way. You were still doing it like this, you were efficient, you were a well-oiled machine, and it hasn't completely knocked you off course. That's the key here. What they don't want to hear is, I had to make this adaptation and I've just never recovered from a productivity standpoint. Do you see how terrible that sounds? It sounds terrible. So to just redo it real quick, what you want to say here is give an authentic answer. Talk about how you made the change, you made it quickly, and you were able to maintain the same velocity progress, and accomplishments throughout, and you are comfortable with the change, and you're someone who is open to change. One of the skills people are looking for now when they're hiring is somebody who is adaptable. Adaptability is so key nowadays. And when you're telling the story about how you had to adapt, well, that's just about the best example you can give that backs up your ability to adapt to whatever changes you may encounter in your roles moving forward. So that's how you answer that interview question. The next question, and this one isn't one that you're meant to game or to trick. I'm gonna preface it by saying that. And the question is, do you have any concerns about returning to work? Or the second way they might ask it is, do you prefer to work at home or in the office? I want you to be honest here. Now, a lot of people, they hear this question and they go, warning signs. I need to tell them what they want to hear. But I think ultimately that's a fool's errand, because if you tell them what they want to hear and you end up getting the job and you said, I'm comfortable in the office, but you really want to be at home, nobody wins there. Because then you're going to start saying, could I do a few days remote? And they go, Ben, but in our interview, you said you were more comfortable in the office. And now you want to be from home, and then you're going to have friction. My advice here is to be candid, because at the end of the day, you really do want to get into a job in which the expectations align with what you're hoping to do. If you game the system and say, you know what, I'm the type of person who just loves to be in the office. I'm in at 7, I'm clocking out at 5:30, that's my dream job. But you really want to be working from home in your pajamas and in your slippers and in your robe, and there is nothing wrong with that. But if you want that, and then they have this expectation that you're going to come into the office, that is not going to help you. It is really going to get things off to maybe a rocky start in the first 90 days. And those first 90 days are incredibly critical to setting up what type of employee you are, and did they make a mistake, or were you a great hire? So my advice here is not to think about what they want you to say and say that. Think about how you want to exist moving forward from a work-life balance perspective, from a remote perspective, and say whatever that is. I think it is key to be truthful here. So there you go. Those are the 3 questions that Huffington Post is telling HR people and recruiters and hiring managers to ask, and that is how you answer them. Good luck in your next interview. You've got this.